Hello there, and welcome to the first episode of the podcast me and Aaron have decided to put together. It's something that we've wanted to do for a while. It's been in the pipeline for quite a long time, but today is the first episode of
We're
the
finally here.
yeah, and we've just decided to make it in order to talk about the Premier League. We might discuss other divisions as and when we decide to, but for the first episode anyway, it's going to be about the Premier League, and the Premier League's back. First of all, I think it's the done thing now. You've got to ask people how their lockdown's been. So, how's your lockdown been, mate?
Been good. Pretty boring, not gonna lie.
Yeah,
We started off kind of getting a bit of exercise now and then, and that's just completely gone from the start. So it's been a pretty boring few months.
yeah, same here, mate. It's all been like this, waiting for some sort of normality to return to our lives, and yeah, I think with the Premier League coming back, it's sort of giving everyone a bit more of a something to concentrate on because there's been absolutely nothing to concentrate on for the previous 3 months. Just on the Premier League, have you enjoyed it coming back?
No, I haven't. I've noticed there's like nothing going on in the first half, so
No.
it takes so long to actually get interesting.
I think the only game where that trend was booked was the Palace game where Palace scored quite early and then nothing happened for a good
Yeah,
hour.
but then the crazy thing about that is this is Crystal Palace. We're not used to playing them. We're not used to them playing good stuff, and they were like Barcelona that first half.
Bournemouth didn't know what was it. No, did they? Right, so I think we're going to go through every team in the league and just discuss what they've been doing during lockdown, what they've potentially done before, and where can we see them going now from a numerous points of view. So we have to start with Liverpool. Liverpool, they returned last night with a 4-0 win at Palace, but Sunday wasn't playing Salem, was it?
Well, Everton were actually very well organised like that in that game. I was surprised Liverpool couldn't break them down, but Ancelotti got his tactics spot on in that one.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. But on Liverpool, they played quite empty football, I thought, against
Yeah, they
Burnley.
clearly missed. Was it Salah that didn't play?
Yeah, Robertson. So
Yeah,
the balls from Robertson to Salah weren't on because Minamino just kept on coming to the ball. And Joe Gomez, he's a good centre back, but left back, not really sure about that. So their attack was thwarted. They stuck with the 4-3-3 that they've always played under Jurgen Klopp. They pressed quite high. They were good defensively, and last night I think was the perfect performance, wasn't it?
it's pretty clear how important to the Jurgen Klopp system that all three of that front three have to be in the team.
Yeah.
With the way Firmino kind of drops in, links up play to allow Salah and Mane to run in behind. But when it's not both Salah and Mane, it's clear how much Salah has that impact.
Yeah, Roberto Firmino strikes me as a striker who loves playing anywhere but the box. I think he
Yeah,
likes to be the one who pulls players apart, and he couldn't do that on Sunday because the runs weren't being offered him behind. Because Coleman did an excellent job on Mane, and Minamino just kept on coming to the ball. So when people talk about Firmino being the most important player, I'm not really sure about that because Mane and Salah, if they're not playing and they're not their most, dangerous. I
yeah,
don't know what he does.
I totally see why people see Firmino as a very important player, but it depends on the players around him as well.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah,
if they can't have all three of them together, Klopp might need to find a way to kind of adjust the system to make sure everything is perfect. Because ultimately, Firmino isn't an out and out number 9. I don't think he was like that at Hoffenheim. He hasn't been that at Liverpool, and we've seen some sitters here that he's missed. He's not an amazing finisher in comparison to the likes of Aubameyang and Kane and Vardy.
no, I'd even say Calvert-Lewin. I don't even think he's as good finisher
Yep.
as him.
Yeah. In this
But
season, I totally agree.
yeah, but Roberto Firmino's excellent with the ball at his feet. He creates stuff. He goes into this role between the half space where it doesn't really look like he's affecting much, but it creates a run. it's like the pass before the pass. He's really good at it, and people say he's overrated. I'm not really sure he's overrated, but I'm also not sure he's their most important player.
I
I
think
think it's
that's
the
totally
fullback.
fair. Yeah.
I think it's the fullbacks. I think when they're playing and they're at their best, they're unplayable.
Yeah, and you've got to consider when they lost Coutinho, that's kind of when Liverpool started to become the force that they are now, because they've abandoned that creativity in the middle. They put that for the wing backs to be basically in charge of, and they've just got a midfield packed with grafters and workhorses.
Mm. It worked quite well for them. They're not Man City in the way Man City play, but they're a lot more functional. I'm just looking here. They conceded 10 goals less than Man City and have only scored 6 fewer. So that tells me they're very organised. But whilst they lack technical brilliance in the midfield like Man City have, they make up for it in pressing and working hard and doing everything you've got to do to be on 86 points after 31 games.
Yeah, and I think going on to Man City, individually, like if you look at their team, individual players in comparison to Liverpool, Man City are better overall. But certainly better than this season. Liverpool are a lot more functional. They have a better defence with Van Dijk in there. And Man City also struggle without Laporte, of course, so that needs to be considered. And that's why City have been so far behind Liverpool this season.
Yeah, well, Man City themselves, they've been pretty good, haven't they, since the restart?
Yeah, I mean, when they played against Burnley, we all know what City are capable of, but we also know how Burnley are capable of defending. So I wasn't expecting a 5-0.
Well, it's been 5-0 the past few seasons, and in this training ground sort of atmosphere, I think it really suits them. But what also really suits them is Burnley's first sub being Eric Peters. So, Man City against Arsenal and Burnley have just, I think, so far caught two teams who are in a bit of a bad situation at the moment, and when they play teams who are a bit more things to play for, let's see how they do then. But they've been brilliant so far.
Yeah, I mean, I should know how good Man City can be as a Watford fan. So we all know what they're capable of. At their best, for me, they are better than Liverpool, probably one of the best teams in the world.
Yeah.
What they've lacked this season is that defensive presence at the back. With Laporte out, Vincent Kompany has obviously left, so they don't have that leadership. And they've been forced to go between John Stones, who is a liability, Fernandinho, who isn't a centre-back, Eric Garcia is unknown and unproven. So if City are going to kind of close that gap on Liverpool next season, they need to get a proper centre-back in to partner Laporte.
Yeah, I find myself being a right dinosaur when I watch Man City because they do these short interchanging passes, and I just say, throw one down the line for Sterling because it's always on, but they never seem to do. So I find it quite frustrating, especially when your local rivals are about 23 points clear of them. That's a bit annoying. But, you know, they're a really good team in their own right. I'm surprised to see that they're only like 8 clear of Leicester. I feel like they should be about 110 points clear of Leicester.
Yeah, but I think there have been times this season, like Man City have lost 7 games this season.
Yeah,
that has to be considered. That also links to the whole defensive problems because they scored 6 more goals than Liverpool, but 10 less. They conceded 10 more. So it's pretty clear what the issue is.
Yeah, it is the back four. I look at Laporte and I think he's a fantastic centre back, but I'd look at the others and I just don't think there's any leaders there.
You've got Zinchenko or Mendy at left back. Walker's a good right back for me. He's still a solid Premier League right back. But then the other centre back, and that's where that's kind of like that other centre back and a left back. That's what they're kind of lacking to be a real force like they were a couple of seasons ago.
Yeah, and another thing I think is that teams now have found a way to sort of nullify them, and Burnley didn't, and Arsenal certainly didn't in terms of the way they set up. But I just feel like teams in certain moments. I think Wolves have been the perfect example in both of the games Wolves have played against them. They've shut out all the space Man City like to play in, and well, obviously we had crowds back then, but I think they play Southampton tonight, don't they?
No, that's Arsenal. City are playing.
Should have known this, shouldn't we?
City have Chelsea away.
Well, we really should have known that. But man, I actually think that could be a game they slip up in.
Possibly. I think when I made a prediction before the game, I think I said like a 2-1 win to City because it's not going to be an easy one at all. But I think City have the quality to get over the line. So kind of 2-1, 3-1 scoreline maybe.
Yeah, I can. Yeah, I think what will help City, if anything, is Chelsea play really openly against everyone. I think the only time this season in which a team has had more ball possession than Man City was Chelsea. At Man City, I think Chelsea had like 54% possession, which is quite surprising considering even Man United had like 30% against them. Liverpool average a little bit less than them. So I think for Man City, it's all about keeping going with the brother.
Yeah, I mean, we all know what like I said, we all know what they're capable of at their best. They're, for me, the best team in the league, and we haven't mentioned Kevin De Bruyne, who
No,
I think is the best. I think is the best player in the league.
Yeah.
So
yeah. I also think that Fernandinho, in his proper holding midfield role, is the best at his role as well.
Yeah, I think
maybe not better the other way than Kante, but certainly building up play.
I think Kante's kind of got that energy to get up and down the pitch. We've got to consider Fernandinho's age. He's like 35 now, and he's still one of the best defensive midfielders in the Premier League.
Yeah. But third's Leicester.
We'll say about Leicester, right?
I find it really odd that they're third in the Premier League because I look at them and I think they're a bit meh.
I'm torn because I think they've got very good starting 11. They've got a good manager in Brendan Rodgers. He plays a good style of football. But I think they've also benefited from the likes of Chelsea, United, and specifically Spurs and Arsenal being particularly under par this season.
Yeah, definitely. I think with Leicester that they've always been a better team when they counter-attack. And I think since Christmas they've had an awful lot of the ball, and that does not suit them because Tielemans is not that good and Maddison is not that good and the wingers aren't that good.
Yeah, I think wingers is kind of their main problem. The fact that they've still got Demarai Gray as kind of a substitute option is not really good enough.
No,
if they want to properly compete for the top four on a regular basis, it's kind of those two wingers that they need to sort out.
Yeah, who could you see them going for in that instance then in terms of wingers?
I'll say, I think if we go down, Ismaila Sarr. I think Leicester are linked in the summer. I wouldn't be surprised if we go down. I think Sarr would be a good option for them on the right. But that's just off the top of my head.
Yeah, I was thinking anyway because he's a personal favourite of mine lately. Crepin Diatta, Club Brugge.
I mean, I can't say I've seen him play, but I've heard very good things of him.
Yeah, he's a really good player. He plays on the right. Who plays on the right for Leicester? Is it Barnes or?
I think Barnes on the left. They kind of switch between Albrighton and Iosi Perez on the right.
Well, if Albrighton's still playing, there's no way he could be fair.
Thing is, I like Albrighton. I think he's a really good crosser of the ball, but he's just a bit of a workhorse, really. You know.
I'm willing to put a lot of money down the fact that Mark O'Brien at some point in the next 12 months ends up at Burnley.
100%, yeah.
He's ending up at Burnley.
He screams he screams a Burnley player when he kind of reaches the end of his career, kind of 30ish.
Definitely. We've touched a bit on Chelsea. Do you think they'll finish above Leicester?
I don't think they'll finish above Leicester, but I do think they'll finish in the top four.
Mm-hmm.
And I also think they have to, because with Champions League football, they already have Werner, they already have Ziyech. So you can't really have those two players playing Europa League football next season. Although, granted, it depends on City and their champions and the band, but ultimately they should be finishing in the top four.
They should, and I think they're good enough to as well. I think they've been really good this season. I'm surprised they're below Leicester. They are by far the best team we played in a single game. They were unbelievable.
We've still got them to play away at Stamford Bridge, but that'll be a very, very tough game.
They had that long run of spell, I think, from like the 1st of December to like mid-January, where everyone just beat them 1-0. I'm thinking like West Ham, Bournemouth, Newcastle.
Yeah.
That they should have won 8-0 and they lost 1-0. I don't know if that was a lack of clinical striker because I think I only watched the Newcastle game out of them.
I mean, from what I can tell, I mean, they've conceded 40 goals this season, which is the most out of everyone in the top six. So it probably, because it kind of looks, you got to consider this is Lampard's second like proper job. It's his biggest job of his career so far. So he's probably going to have that tactical naivety at times. But with time and with a bit more experience, I think Lampard's got a bright future in management.
Yeah, I think they've done excellently well. I just look at them and think they bring in Timo Werner, Arnie, and Ziyech. They're good additions. I think Pedro's leaving. I think they just announced he's going to Roma.
Yeah.
I'm not. I'll just imagine now that he's going to Roma.
He's going to Roma, yeah.
Jeff Hendrick.
Oh God, Jeff Hendrick.
And I think Willian might be on his way out. So that leaves a new crop of players to come in, and I think it could be a really exciting time for Chelsea.
Yeah. We're kind of used to Chelsea being a kind of unlikable side at times, but at the moment, with the amount of exciting youth that they're bringing through, they're going to be. I don't think they'll challenge the title because Liverpool and City are just that good. But I think they'll be a strong contender for third place and maybe close that gap a little bit.
Yeah, again, I've caught this all wrong with Chelsea. I remember when Sarri left last summer, I just quote tweeted it with capital letters of Simeone, but they've gone through a completely different type of football, a type of way of doing things, and it's working for them. So I'm not going to criticize it yet.
I'll hold my hands up and say I got it completely wrong on Lampard. I was convinced he was going to fail, not because he's a bad manager, but because he said at the time he had one job. It was with Derby in the Championship, and he didn't get promoted in the end.
No.
So I thought it was a strange one, and the decision to bring in Lampard was mainly sentimental.
Yeah, definitely. I think we'd better talk about Man United, haven't we? Because I really don't know what to make of this football club at all.
See, I don't think they've got a bad team whatsoever. They've been on a very good run of form going back to before the lockdown. But I think it needed the signing of Bruno Fernandes to kind of kickstart that run of form. Yeah. Because I remember watching them beforehand, and they were so devoid of any creativity in midfield. They were obviously missing Pogba, and just those two alone make them a completely different team.
Yeah, definitely. The way I look at it with Man United is they're on a good run of form at the moment, but it won't take much at all for them to lose 3 games on the spin. And it to me just reeks a club that is so panic stricken. I don't think they trust the manager. I don't think that he instills much confidence. They're playing well at the moment. Do you know what reminds me a little bit of the second half of last season with us and Silva? That he's somehow scrambling results together. No one really can be too confident in it, but no one can really criticise it because it's sort of a new thing.
And it's a thing with Solskjaer in charge. I don't think he's good enough to be Man United manager. I'll give him credit where it's due. He's proven me wrong a little bit. He's been better than I expected. But
me too.
Moving forward, they need to look at replacing him. I think Poch is obviously still available, and I think he has to be the go-to guy whenever possible.
He's going to Newcastle.
Oh God, Newcastle. We'll get to them, but
yeah. Okay. And now I agree, Pochettino. Yeah, I can see Solskjaer sticking it for another 12 months, and within 12 months, they're not the third best team in the country.
Yeah, I mean that's what kind of worries me for Man United. They're obviously their ownership's a shambles, and it's clear they don't have much ambition whatsoever. Would Solskjaer be would keeping Solskjaer on for next season as well? Would it be a bad move? Not necessarily, because it might give him a bit more time to rebuild. But for the long term, will it be good for them? I don't think so.
I think it's a really difficult one. I really wouldn't want to call it with them. There's just so many issues, so many different sort of features to Man United. You just don't really know what to think. A team who are on the up though, and a team who are very good at football is Wolves.
I've been not necessarily surprised by Wolves, but I wasn't expecting to continue that run of form. because they were in Europe. They got Europa League football, and they didn't sign enough players for me in the summer. They had a small squad. I thought the Thursday Sunday schedule would kind of hinder them a little bit. Not they wouldn't be close to relegation, but I thought a comfortable mid-table finish, maybe on the verge of top half. They're massively overachieved and shocked me this season, really.
I remember we had a conversation around June last year, saying I said Wolves would be comfortably above West Ham. I said Leicester, to be fair, which I got proved wrong, and I said they'd be above Everton as well, I think. And yeah, I think I've been proven right. They are very good.
They are very, very good. They play decent round of football. Nuno's a very good coach, and they've got a good spine that they're building around with with Moutinho and Neves in midfield. Jimenez and Yosso are two of the best attackers in the league.
Yeah, definitely. I wrote a blog on Wolves a few weeks ago. I'm trying to shamelessly plug that. They are a very good team. They're more functional than we give them credit for, because they're not all this knocking up the ball around team. They limit teams to very few chances. They keep their shape very well. They changed it a bit. They went from a 5-3-2 to a 5-4-1, and they switched it to a 3. And they sometimes play with a 10. They sometimes play with a front 3. They know how to change it up, freshen it up. And I think with Adama Traore, they've got one serious player on their hands.
Yeah, Adama Traore is a weird one because before this season, he was just that guy that you knew what he offered. He was, he was strong. He has a lot of pace, but he just could not finish to save his life. This season, he's clearly learned. He's clearly sorted that out. He's been absolutely incredible for them this season, and he's been the difference. Because I'd argue without Adama and the way he's improved, they meant to be in the top 6 this season.
No, I'm a big fan of Diogo Jota. I think he's a fabulous player. I remember our fans were saying at the start of the season that Bernard's better than him, and just laughed because it's just embarrassing the way that these people talk about our club as if these players are untouchable. Well, we'll talk about Evan in a minute, but Jota, Jimenez, never. Sorry, what was you going to say?
I was just going to say, whenever I watch Jota play, it's like the ball starts to his feet. He's such a good dribbler.
Yeah.
And he links up really well with Raul Jimenez, who's basically the ideal number 9 for me. Yeah. Everything I want Troy Deeney to be is what Raul Jimenez is. Yeah. He's tall, he's not slow, he's strong, he holds the ball up well, he links up play well, he gets in the penalty area. He is ultimately the perfect number 9.
Yeah, I remember before they signed him permanently, I said I wanted us to try and sign Jimenez. Just try and throw a cheeky bid in there to see if he would come. Obviously, I weren't foreseeing that Dom and Richarlison would improve so much as a front two. But I think Jimenez is an incredible striker. Do you think Wolves will finish in the top 6 then?
Before the lockdown, I said they'd finish 7th. I thought Spurs would just about have enough. But now that we played a couple games, I really do think they could. I don't think they'll finish in the top 4. I'd argue United are too much for 5th place, but 6th place is definitely on.
Yeah. But Tottenham shouldn't be 7th, should they? Nowhere near.
Again, Spurs is a really weird one because only a year ago they were in the Champions League final.
Yeah.
They were really good under Pochettino, but that's really gone tits up. And now with Mourinho in charge, they're a completely different side.
Yeah, I think with Jose, it's can he get his type of player at Tottenham? And I don't know if the modern way of doing things with recruitment will prohibit him buying his type of player.
I mean, I do think they've got a decent team overall. They definitely shouldn't be 7th. I heard the other day after the Spurs game, of Spurs West Ham, there was something to do with Ndombele, and he's had a bust up with Jose or whatever, which is a real shame because I think he's one of the most talented midfielders in the league.
Yeah, he's good. I wanted him about 2 years ago. I'm not trying to say I'm a genius on football with all these signings I wanted 2 years ago, but I do think he was a really good player. The problem with Tottenham for me is Jose Mourinho does not fit Tottenham. I just don't.
Yeah.
I would argue that there's other teams in the league, he would fit more than Tottenham. Not that he won't do a good job there. I just think that what Tottenham need is someone who can bring the club forward to try and redevelop what Poch did. I just don't think we need Mourinho.
I do agree. I see why they brought Jose in. He's a serial winner. They haven't won anything since 2008, I think, and the board probably saw it as Poch has built up this team with numerous young players to play a good brand of football. Now it's time to take that and actually win something.
Yeah.
So I said when he was appointed, for the short term, it could be very good if they are able to win a trophy or two. It could work out for them. However, for the long term, I could see this ending after 2 years maybe, and maybe on to the next guy.
Maybe. Sheffield United, if we were doing this time last week, we'd be waxing lyrical about them for about an hour. But they've been a bit rubbish this week, haven't they?
It's a bit of a shame, really.
I was looking forward to that.
I was looking forward to seeing them play. I thought they'd have I thought they'd really have the top six nailed on if they could keep it up, but they haven't. I think it's tough to say against Man United last night because they didn't have Henderson, Egan, or O'Connell. So no. I expected Man United to do well against them. But then you go back to get to Villa on the first game of the restart. I was really surprised that they were so they didn't have much going forward really. No. I know they haven't scored many, but even just generally they weren't performing to the level they were beforehand.
No, they're not. They're very well organised. They are quite attacking. I don't think they get as much credit for their attacking plays they probably deserve. They haven't created much since we started, and that would of course be the case when I said they were a vibrant attacking team in my blog. But I just think for them they need a 1-0 to win 1-0, get some confidence, and just keep it going because Chris Wilder's done a fantastic job there.
Yeah, I mean, looking at their fixtures, they've got Spurs at home, which is going to be a very big game.
Tough watch that.
So I mean, for Sheffield United's case, hopefully they can nick that 1-0. Yeah. If they win that, they'll only be what? They'll go above. 2 points behind Wolves. Yeah, they'll go above Spurs and they'll go behind a couple points behind Wolves. So they just need that one win to get some confidence back, and there's no better time than the next game against Spurs.
Yeah. Crystal Palace, well, they are 9th in the league and are doing brilliantly despite last night's defeat to Liverpool. Yeah, I said they would do well as well, didn't I?
You did, because you've always backed Roy Hodgson.
Yeah.
For people like me, I always knew he was a good coach, but I didn't realise he was this good.
No, they've scored 28 goals and are 9th in the league. I don't know how they've done that. We've scored 38 and a point below them. When we were conceding a lot of goals at the start of the season, but Palace are just so solid.
I'd argue, and it's just is a shout. I'd argue they are just as much, just maybe a little bit less of a shock than Sheffield United, because they lost Wan-Bissaka. They didn't replace it. They spent what? How much did they actually spend last summer?
Minus 32 million.
They didn't get a striker in. Well, Jordan I was there last year, but he was no good last year, and I'll get to that. Just Crystal Palace. They're so well drilled. They're so good defensively. Gary Cahill has been one of the signings of the season, and I think they've benefited from the kind of emergence or re-emergence of Jordan Ayew, because he was poor last year, but I think he's got 8 or 9 goals this year.
Yeah, he's won a lot of games for them by the odd goal, hasn't he? He's done very well. Benteke as well. As much as people give Benteke stick for not being able to put the ball in the back of the net, he holds the ball really well.
I watched a few Palace games when they were on during just before the restart, and I always saw Benteke performing really, really well. He's such a good physical presence because he's good at hard luck play. He links up with the likes of Zaha and Ayew really well. The one thing he's missing is putting the ball on the back of the net, And if he was able to show the form he showed at Aston Villa a few years ago, he's the ideal number 9.
Yeah, he is. He was really. I think it was against Bournemouth on Saturday night. He was excellent. I didn't watch them against Liverpool last night because I just don't tend to watch Liverpool unless they play Everton. But I think for Palace, the 42 points, 31 games, their record points total in the Premier League was last season they got was 49. I think they finished 12th, didn't they? If they finish higher than 12 and higher than 49 points, they've had a great season.
Yeah, they'll definitely be good. I think it's important that they picked up so many points because they have a very tough run in. Because their next got Burnley, they've got Leicester, Chelsea, United, Wolves, and Spurs, as well as Aston Villa. So I think it'll be tough for them to pick up the same. It'll be tough for them to pick up loads of points in that run in, but they'll have enough to be comfortably mid-table. I just think they won't have enough to actually get into Europe. But even to be in contention at this stage is an achievement for them.
Yeah, I think that's probably one of the most underrated managerial performances of the season. I really do. 9th in the league. That it's just that so little goals that they have there. For them.
And no disrespect to Crystal Palace either, but I'm not even saying this because I support Watford, but I don't think they have an amazing. They're certainly not top half in terms of the quality of their team, but they're solid defensively. They've got a number of grafters. Zaha is obviously one of the most talented wingers in the league. It's just if they had the kind of the financial power to sign some more players, in particular in attack, then I think they could kind of think about improving, maybe getting regular top half finishes.
Mm-hmm. What I think we'll discuss the top 12 this week, and then in another episode later in the week we'll talk about Newcastle to Norwich. So this will be from Liverpool to Burnley, because I think we've got to talk about Burnley after what's happened in the last couple of days, and we'll answer some questions, and then next time we'll talk about Newcastle to Norwich. But yes, Crystal Palace. I think while we're on Palace, I think we might as well talk about Roy, and he signed a new 1-year deal. But you were saying last night that if, and it's a big if, Sean Dyche is available in the summer, you wouldn't be surprised to see that come forward, do you?
Yeah, like I said, I think it would be a smart move because as harsh as it is on Roy Hodgson, because he's done a fantastic job since coming in. He's 73 now, something like that. It's a matter of when, not if he leaves. And Sean Dyche is tailor made for that club because he plays a similar sort of style with the 4-4-2 or that the defensive organisation. And again, Dyche is a very underrated manager. He's he's arguably the best manager in the league defensively. And I just think if he becomes available, Palace have got to consider that.
Yeah, but we'll talk quickly about Everton and Arsenal. 2 clubs who I think have got completely different moods post-lockdown.
Yeah. What's Everton's results been? They drew with Liverpool, which is a good result.
Yeah, we drew with Liverpool Sunday and we beat Norwich 1-0 last night.
That was it, yeah. 2 good results. I think Everton will be strong for the top half, and with Ancelotti, they've got a good manager to take them forward, especially in comparison to the previous few managers.
The previous manager, you mean? Yeah, from an Everton perspective, and I think this is a good time because I got a lot of questions about Everton. Matthew Barry says, does Michael Keane have a future at Everton with Ancelotti opting to play a deeper line?
Michael Keane's a weird one because he was so good at Burnley, but he needs that. I think that's what it is. He needs that defensive kind of system to play under. Under Marco Silva, that obviously wasn't a thing. When did he join? 2017, so that would have been Koeman. Yeah. I didn't watch Everton a lot back then, but Koeman isn't. I don't think Koeman really strikes me as a defensively sound manager.
No, well, you didn't watch us away from home at times. We were garbage, but yeah, he wasn't as defensive minded as Carlo is. But saying that, Michael Keane did have a good few games under Sam Allardyce, and
I was going to touch on that. That's kind of I don't. Is it wrong for me to say maybe that's where he showed maybe the best form of his Everton career so far, or was up there under Sam Allardyce?
Maybe towards the end of that
Yeah.
season. Yeah, either that or when he was playing next to Zuma.
Mm.
One of the two, when he had Garner in front of him. One of the two. I would say, yeah. I actually think the last couple of games have been when I've been the most impressed with him.
Yeah, I don't think he'd be a bad Premier League defender, but for the kind of the lower half, if he's in a defensive system, maybe go back to Burnley if they lose Tarkowski. Maybe I think that could be on
Yeah,
possibly.
yeah. I wouldn't be disappointed to see Michael Keane stay because, as I was saying to people on Twitter the other week, there isn't a lot of money going around, and we desperately need some cover at right back. Coleman's a good player defensively. I think lately he has in a free. So he can be one option. I don't rate John Joe Kenny, and I don't think we'll take the option on Jibril Sidibe, and Cuco Martina will be leaving soon.
Cuco
So
Martinez still there?
he was on the bench yesterday.
Was he actually?
Yeah. So I think we need another right back, and if if buying another centre back just to replace Michael Keane means we can't buy a right back, then I'd
Yeah.
rather keep Michael Keane.
I think Mina and Holgate are two good options to start. Michael Keane might not be a bad option off the bench or as a substitute or a backup. So centre back isn't a priority, if you ask me. I think especially if Everton want to push towards the top six, they need to sort out the priorities, which is the midfield, the wings, and right back. Which I don't think right back is as important, but it's something that needs to be considered.
Yeah. Just one last thing on Everton. Ancelotti the right appointment?
At the time, I was skeptical, not because he's a bad manager, but because I wondered if he'd be the right fit based on he's kind of had world-class players already at his disposal when he's arrived at previous clubs. But I do think Ancelotti, if anyone will, if any manager is going to take Everton forward and get them into the top six, it's got to be Ancelotti. If he can't, then I don't know what to say.
Yeah, I've already said I'm liquidating my whole support fandom of Everton if we can't do it with Carlo. I think so far he's been a breath of fresh air. He's got the club united in terms of the fans, and on the pitch we're a hell of a lot more organised than we were previously.
Yeah, I think they need to. It'll be a strong season next year, and that's kind of when they need to start pushing towards the top 6/7.
Yeah. Arsenal, we'll quickly touch on Arsenal and Burnley, and then we'll go through the last few questions. Arsenal, I'm not having Arsenal at all. I think they're rubbish.
I agree, because that defense is an absolute shambles, and I just don't think Arteta's the man that's going to sort that out.
No, not at all. He needs time in the sense that Arteta is a manager who, if anything, can play attacking football the Pep way, if you want to call it that, and he needs time for Arsenal to be able to do that. But equally, he's shown me nothing so far that suggests to me he can take a club like Arsenal into the top four.
Yeah, I was very sceptical when Arteta was given the job, and similar to United and Chelsea, I thought it was mainly sentimental. I know he's worked under Pep, but I don't think that makes him good enough to be the Arsenal manager, and I just don't think it's the right fit at this point in time because Arsenal are a mess. They're only 12 points above us. There'll be 9 points if we win tonight and they lose. And I think that's not a massive margin when you consider our start to the season. So I think that really shows Arteta won't be the man to sort them out because it's his first actual managerial job.
Yeah, we'll see. I'm not. I just think that they need some more players, and I'm not sure they're going to get them. So I think it's going to be a case of them just leaving him to do the job, embed a system, and then just hope that naturally players will come in who are better to play that way than David Luiz, who's just an embarrassment to football.
Yeah, I'd mainly argue as well because they could lose Aubameyang as well. If his contract's coming to an end soon. I compare them maybe to AC Milan in the way that they have dropped off so dramatically, and it will take them a while to get back to the level. It was only a couple of years ago, or what, 15, 16, I think they finished second.
Yeah,
but it's big drop off.
The Spurs finished third in the 2-horse
Yeah.
race. But yeah, I think we'll see how they get on. I think they play Southampton tonight, don't they?
They do, yeah.
Yeah, so we'll see how they get on. They're on 40 points. They're 11 off Chelsea, and they are 13 off Bournemouth. We'll finish on Burnley, and then if you want to say a few things on Watford for tonight, because they're playing Burnley, you can do. Burnley finished before lockdown in excellent form. Players who were incredibly well drilled. But the last few weeks, it's been a bit of a mess, hasn't it?
Yeah, I like Burnley in that they're obviously very well organised. There's the whole thing of Burnley play terrible football, anti-football. I've never understood that because I'm not an advocate for that sort of football. Aesthetically, I don't like it, but ultimately, if it works, there's nothing to complain about.
No.
And that's what Sean Dyche brings.
Yeah, he is getting incredibly frustrated with, I think it's Mike Rigg and Mike Garlick. I might have got that wrong. Not buying anyone. And this isn't a case of the Benitez syndrome at Newcastle where he just moaned about absolutely everything. This is a case of players just not being given new contracts, and he's got about 3 new players to work with.
Yeah, they I think Phil Bardsley only was given a new contract yesterday, I think it was.
Yeah.
Jeff Hendricks apparently hasn't signed a new deal.
No, he's left.
Yeah, and
Aaron Lennon's left.
Aaron Lennon, yeah. So I completely understand why he'd be annoyed, especially considering what he's done for the club. Obviously, Burnley don't have the financial power of Man City or anything like that, but I do think because it's kind of similar to Palace in that they aren't a team filled with technically gifted players, but they're a team of grafters. They're well organised, and that's just what you need to stay in the Premier League.
Yeah. There's been some rumours circulating today that Dyche might throw the towel in the summer leave, and Mark Hughes, that man again, is he's the favourite for the role should the move be made. I just can't think of a worse idea ever.
I think that would be a disaster because, like I said, Burnley don't have a number of technically gifted players, but they are well organised. If you get rid of Sean Dyche and bring Mark Hughes in, and that organisation just goes away.
Yeah,
if they bring Mark Hughes in, I really do worry for them, and I'd say they could probably go. They could go down next year if they bring in Mark Hughes.
Yeah, I think they will go down if Mark Hughes comes in. If I'm Burnley, I look to bring in someone like Sean Dyche, whether it be Tony Pulis or someone like Neil Harris in the lower leagues. Just someone who can just come in and play the same way and give them a fighting chance. If they bring Mark Hughes or Lee Johnson in, they're going down.
Yeah, I think they definitely need to get somebody of a similar ilk to Sean Dyche. So they can't abandon what they've already achieved. I kind of look at Brighton. I think it's a different sort of scenario.
Yeah.
But in the way they sacked Chris Hughton to bring Graham Potter, I kind of compare it to that. Although it's slightly different here in that Sean Dyche has been there for so long. He's got everything built around him, and if you take him away, it will take a lot longer to kind of recover and rebuild.
Right. I'm just going. This is on the sackrace.com. The odds to replace Sean Dyche should he leave after 7 years. Mark Hughes is favourite. Next favourite Sam Allardyce. Then Lee Johnson, Alan Pardew, and Phil Neville, Paul Clement, and your mate Quique Sanchez Flores.
Tell you what, Quique Sanchez Flores, I think we do well there.
if they weren't so British based, then
Yeah.
maybe. I just think that'd be a worry. I don't think they'll go for
Tell you
far
what
as that.
though, I look at our team in 15-16 under Kike. I feel like there was some similarities. You know, we had the front two of Dini and Igalo. They've
Yeah,
got Bonds and Wood, kind of two clinical, decent strikers. One of them physical presence. The left, Burnley had McNeil. We had Jose Manuel Jurado.
well, the
On, on,
legend as well.
on, on the right wing, we had Alman Abdi, who in the Championship was a creative player, but he turned into a more hard-working kind of winger. And Burnley even playing Jeff Hendrick, I believe. So I do actually think there are some similarities in a way.
Yeah, I just don't think they would be looking at Flores because of how bad Watford were.
Yeah, I don't think Kike is a bad manager.
No, I don't.
He needs to be there from the start to play that sort of football and stay in the league, not be however many points adrift from safety.
Yeah, out of
So
them, yeah.
yeah, they'll. I think Kike would be a good sort of option for them, but I highly doubt Burnley would consider Kike.
So out of them, what 8? Would you say Sam Allardyce would be the best pick?
Yeah, Sam Allardyce and Kike are the only ones I think would achieve anything there. I like Lee Johnson, but I don't think he'd suit Burnley, and the rest
No,
just aren't good managers, are they?
no, I would actually argue Lee Johnson isn't. If you see how much Bristol City have to spend,
Yeah,
and then
that's fair
yeah,
enough. Yeah.
yeah. But I think that's just about it. I'll just see if there's any more questions. We have to address on the scale of 1 to 10 how sexy is Matty Vidra.
Um. Well, this is from Hornet Shane, and I don't think that's up for debate. It's an easy 10.
Right, okay.
He's an absolute hero, and if he scores tonight, I will cry.
Yeah, I think if any goals go in tonight, he'll be off a corner.
Oh God, it'll be a mess. I guarantee it's going to be a 0-0 up until the last minute.
And then it'll be a corner.
Burnley would have Burnley.
Yeah. Well, so yeah, that's it. One last question, but I think we'll address this more in the next episode when we talk about the teams at the bottom. Who do you think will go down?
I think Norwich are gone. From what I've seen so far, Bournemouth are gone. And then it's a case of Watford, West Ham, Aston Villa. I think Brighton should have been able to get out of it.
Yeah, I agree.
I really worry for West Ham. They picked up 8 points since David Moyes took over. Considering that was the end of December, that was really, really poor.
Yeah.
If you asked me this before lockdown, I would have been nailed on Aston Villa, but they've showed a bit of fight in the last couple games. So I think I'm probably going to go Norwich, Bournemouth, and I think Aston Villa.
Yeah.
I think West Ham should have enough. I think we'll stay up, but I'll figure out. I'll have a much better idea after tonight.
Well, I'll tell you, Watford will be staying up. Out of the others, I would be saying Norwich. I watched them last night. They were terrible. I think Bournemouth are gone, and West Ham. I just don't look at West Ham as a team that can do anything well. They can't defend. They can't create. I think Villa, whilst they're very limited in terms of everything, and it's just Grealish, I think they are possibly better than West Ham. Just I don't know.
I don't know. I think Villa. For me, Villa are the worst team in the league based on just their players. Bar Grealish. I think Norwich have more. Norwich are more individuals.
Yeah.
As a team, I think I look at Villa and I just think Grealish good, McGinn good, Heaton good, Mings okay. The rest, I don't think. The rest, I really worry about.
Yeah, I agree. Well, we'll touch on them later this week, maybe.
Yeah.
Right.
Totally.
So that brings it to a close. Then the first episode. I think we're just going to call it the Parks and Bennis podcast. I think we're happy with that. It'll be going out on YouTube. We might expand our base later on, but I think for now we'll just put on YouTube. We hope you enjoyed it. Get in touch. I think we might create some socials for the podcast and that, and then any questions, anything, let us know. See you later.
See ya.